Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. It is December 31st, 2021 as of me uploading this video. So if you're watching this video the day it comes out, Happy New Year. Tomorrow is January 1st, 2022, first day of the new year. Today I just wanted to kind of take a look back at the year that was 2021 in the world of Overwatch, just kind of reflect on it. It was an interesting year, a lot of really interesting stuff that went on. Both, some good and a lot of bad. And so I just kind of want to reflect on it, give you my thoughts on it, and take a look ahead at 2022 and kind of talk about some of my hopes. And I'm going to have a whole video out probably next week where I talk about 2022 in its entirety and where I kind of give more of a look ahead, a bit more of an update type of video, as well as just kind of a theorizing and kind of taking a look at what I think we might get for 2022. But for now, this is going to be the look back at 2021. Let's look at what happened this past year, and let's discuss it. So obviously, there were a lot of highlights and even more lowlights this year. I would say this year, 2021, really, for Overwatch itself, we'll talk about Overwatch League a little bit later, but for Overwatch itself, I would say 2021 was kind of the beginning, or even not the beginning, the peak of what I would call kind of the dark ages of Overwatch. I mean, it really has been a very, very rough year for Overwatch, and it has been quite a down year. Of course, this is the first year that the game has not had a single new hero, no new competitive map, though I think we didn't have one in 2020 either, so not the first year where it was new. But this is the first year that we have not had a new hero. We did have two new deathmatch maps, but it was just two deathmatch maps. It's a little different. We had Kanazaka and Malavento. We had some teases about some stuff, of course, with that little post for Toshiro Yamagami story thing, the correspondence letter, which is currently my pinned tweet on Twitter if you haven't seen it, where I kind of theorized how that might be a tease for an Overwatch 2 hero, but we don't know for sure yet. Obviously, we had a bunch of the same events we've had in the past with the new skins, which I will say, if nothing else, the skins for this year were incredible. Like, every event had really good skins this year, as always. We got, obviously, back in February, we had BlizzCon Online, and there was the behind-the-scenes thing that Overwatch 2 had, where they kind of went behind the scenes, revealed some stuff. So that was kind of interesting, and then we got later on, we got the PvP stream of Overwatch 2 where they announced that Overwatch 2 would be 5v5. That was a big part of, I think, this year, was kind of really looking at Overwatch 2 and trying to get us excited and ready for Overwatch 2. That was really, to me, the biggest takeaway from 2021 was really they were trying to say, hey, like, Overwatch 2 is coming. Let's try to get you guys excited for it. They definitely did not do it as much as we should have gotten from them, and I would love to see more, but we didn't really get as much as I would have liked. One of the biggest things that happened this year, of course, was the introduction of crossplay to Overwatch, which I think was a huge success and a huge addition. I'm a huge fan of it. I have friends who play on other consoles from me, and I think that it's really nice to be able to play with them, and they have the option to play the way that they want. If they want to play on their PlayStation instead of playing on their PC, they can do that, and they don't have to choose which one they want to play. So that's really nice. I do think that crossplay was a huge addition. We got to see some cool story development this year. We got the Deadlock book. Is it called Deadlock Rebels? I don't actually remember the name of it. But we got the Deadlock book, and we got the Cassidy the comic series that is going on now. We've gotten some stuff there, of course. So there were some good things that happened this year with Overwatch. But of course, there was a lot of bad that happened with Overwatch and with Blizzard specifically. I mean, the biggest thing, of course, was back in April when Jeff Kaplan moved on from Overwatch and moved on from Blizzard. And we don't really know what Jeff Kaplan is up to right now. He hasn't announced it or anything like that. It's never really been said where he went. But we've, of course, gotten tons of different stories about Wyatt. Of course, a lot of it had to do with the news that came out surrounding Activision Blizzard and the horrible culture there. And I've made plenty of videos about it. You've all heard about it. I don't need to go into intense detail about that. You all know what happened. You are all familiar with it. I'm not going to go into more about it than I already have. So it was a rough year for Overwatch as a game. The game itself just did not get the same love that we have seen from it in the past, of course. And a lot of that is just because of the heavy focus going on into Overwatch 2. On the Overwatch League side of things, I, though, thought that the Overwatch League for 2021 was fantastic. I thought this was one of, if not the best seasons of the Overwatch League yet. I think 2019, 2021 are the best two seasons we've gotten of the Overwatch League. They were some of the most... They were super competitive, they were super interesting, they were entertaining, they were fun. Such a great seasons. I think they were kind of the top two in my mind, where we just kind of saw the highest level of Overwatch. Yes, we didn't get to see the in-person matches that we had wanted to see. We saw some, of course, in China. We saw a couple of events with fans present. Obviously, the Dallas one was the main one. But we got to see some really high-level Overwatch on an online setting, which was something that I think was really nice to see. I thought 2021 was such a fantastic look at what Overwatch can be when it comes to the highest level of play, when it comes to really well done, really strong play. The teams were different. The metas were interesting. I actually really liked the way they did hero pools this season. The whole thing, I really thought worked really, really well. So I'm super excited to see what happens as we go into 2022 with the Overwatch League. But, I mean, just looking back at what happened in 2021, obviously, right? Storylines were great. Matches were great. Shanghai Dragons finally winning the championship. Obviously, it's a very different roster from the one that went 0-42. But it's still the same organization. And so it's kind of like the story of, redemption, that they managed to turn it around, make a really good, competitive, strong team, which is such an impressive thing to see. And we also got to see a lot of really cool metas develop and the different ways that people used heroes. Obviously, we saw the rise of Wrecking Ball, which is really, really interesting to see. The Overwatch League, Wrecking Ball's never really been the meta. There's been a couple times, obviously there's that one time in 2020 when you had the Chengdu Hunters meta composition, which worked, but only really worked in APAC, and then only worked when there was a hero pool. Once the hero pool went away, it stopped being viable. So, there was some interesting stuff we saw this year, and I thought that this year was a really solid season of the Overwatch League. Obviously, there were some low lights and some bad moments. Of course, the most recent one being the passing of Alarm. That one, not a very good year in that way, but it's been such a bizarre year, I think, in every way, because there were positive things, there were good things, there were really great high moments where everything was great and it seemed like everybody was happy and it seemed like things were going well, and then everything just went down at times as well. So it's just been quite a year for Overwatch 2021, and I think in many people's eyes, Overwatch League in 2021, I think, will go down as kind of one of those seasons that was really, really good, depending on what happens with Overwatch 2 and with the 2022 season, right? If the 2022 season kicks off a really good golden age for Overwatch, and we see the format do really, really well and it gets really popular again, then I think it's not unreasonable to say that 2021 would kind of be seen as the turning point for the Overwatch League, where they figured things out and everything started to really click, and it became this incredible esport that really is what it was meant to be when it was first created. But I think people are going to look at 2021 for the game of Overwatch as kind of just the dark ages and the bad times, the era when just Overwatch was just not interesting and it was not as fun, it was not as exciting. The game had such poor development, there was so little going on. I was just kind of waiting for something interesting to happen. and waiting for new heroes and waiting for new game modes and just waiting for the game to really kind of kick off this really just kind of golden age. And a lot of it, I think, obviously you can blame it on the pandemic. The pandemic, I think, has had a huge impact on what we've gotten. Obviously, like, we didn't have a BlizzCon this year, so we probably would have seen more from the game this year had there been a BlizzCon. And so they probably had to push that back to next year. And so I think you have to kind of take into account everything that is going on. You have to take every facet into account, every factor into account, and look and recognize and say, look, like, we have to understand that the thing that really determines whether or not the game has a huge kind of resurgence, has a really good lifespan, all that type of stuff, really just comes down to what the plans are. And I think when you have a company who focuses so much on BlizzCon being like the only time we get major announcements, the fact that we didn't have one this year, I think, really just kind of hindered what would have potentially been a stronger year, though still a weak year overall. And so the last several months, the last half of the year or so, there was nothing, right? With the exception of the look at some of the maps that we got during the grand finals and then a little bit after that. We didn't really have anything, right? Like, there was not really big Overwatch 2 news and announcements for about half the year. The majority of the year we really didn't get much of anything. And I think that is what people are going to kind of look at and remember when they think back on 2021 was these promises that we'd be getting more regular updates. And then all of these factors, the pandemic and Blizzard crumbling and falling apart because of these allegations, not allegations, the story coming out about the workplace culture and environment. And I mean, this whole stuff, everything, of course, is, nothing happens in a vacuum and in a bubble, right? Things happen because of other factors that influence them and impact them. So 2021 was overall just a rough year for the game, and it was a rough year for the development team. And I think that that's really what we're seeing right now, is that the game has been impacted by all of those things, and all of those factors really just kind of hindered what the game could be. And so I think that ultimately we have to understand that that's the reason why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. And we're not going to see much of a change, I think, anytime soon until we get into 2022. And hopefully when we start getting to BlizzCon, which I don't know if there is a BlizzCon date yet, or if they're even like going to host one. I really don't know what the plan is. But I think they canceled that one too because of everything that had gone on. So we'll just see what happens, I guess. I really have no idea what to expect going forward, but I guess we'll see as things start to become clear going into 2022 and the situation surrounding COVID and the pandemic, and just hopefully Blizzard and Activision Blizzard making the necessary changes they need to make to the company. But who knows? Only time will tell. But this video is just a bit of a rambly thing, kind of just reflecting on what happened this year. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on this past year for Overwatch and the Overwatch League in the comments down below. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe, staying healthy. I know COVID's getting kind of busy out there and kind of getting back up to being bad. So please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Wear a mask. Get the vaccine, all that type of stuff. But thank you all so much. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.